And a good Erev Shabbos to everybody. Nice to be with you again. We're getting ready for Shabbos parshas Emor. Our Torah portion is Emor, which begins by discussing various strictures that Kohanim have to observe, that priests have to observe because of their increased responsibilities in holiness, and ends with a recounting of the entire holiday cycle, Shabbos and Yom Tov, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, everything, including the Sfiras HaOmer, which is what we're in the middle of. Today is, after all, 29 days. That's 8 weeks and 1 day in the Omer. So it includes discussing the counting of the Omer. And in describing the mitzvah of counting the Omer, we are told, Usafartem lochem. You should count for yourselves from the day after Pesach, from the second day of Pesach, you count these 49 days until Shavuos. So, an interesting question that's been raised is, what do you mean Usfartem lochem? You should count lochem for you. Why not just say Usfartem and you should count? What is Usfartem lochem and you should count for you? And the suggestion of the Nesiv of Sholem, or of Sholem Noach Brzozowski of Slonim Chasidus, his suggestion is that it hints at the idea of the need during this time period to pay attention to things that are lochem, things that are for you, permitted to you. You know, during the 49 days of the Omer, as the Jewish people left Egypt, they moved from the 49th level of spiritual degradation all the way to the 49th level of holiness so that they could receive the Torah. Of course, the question is, how did they move so fast? In 49 days, they managed to go 98 levels, and the answer that's given is that for each level that they worked on in terms of what they needed to do to grow, God helped them with another level, right? God helps those who help themselves. Another possible approach to understanding this is that every time that we're making spiritual progress, we need to make spiritual progress in two ways. Sur meira va'asei tov. In the words of Tehillim, of Psalms of King David, Sur meira, turn away from the bad, whatever we're doing that we shouldn't be doing, va'asei tov, and do the right thing, do the good thing. And that really those two always have to be coupled. So over the course of 49 days of the Jewish people not only stopping to do the wrong thing, but striving to do the right thing, they were able to move all 98 levels, if you will, all the way up to being ready to receive the Torah. This idea of sur meira va'asei tov, of the fact that whenever we turn away from ra, we have to do good as well, is really an essential idea in terms of Jewish practice and in terms of our own religious development. Because not doing the wrong thing is not enough. Avoiding the wrong thing is not good enough, because when we're avoiding the wrong thing, and all we're doing is avoiding the wrong thing, the temptation to go back to our old ways is always right there. It's always hovering. And so in order to have forward momentum, it's not enough to just, listen, I'm not doing anything wrong. That's not enough, because the pressure to do wrong is going to remain. The only way to relieve that pressure is to simultaneously be doing good things, be advancing. Sur meira va'asei tov. Turn away from the bad and do good. And that by doing that, we can make progress that we would not be able to make otherwise. If we're constantly fighting against don't do, we can't make the same progress as if we're constantly striving to do better. This is echoed in the ideas of Shabbos as well. On Shabbos, we are commanded in the Ten Commandments, in one place, Zochar es Yom HaShabbos, to remember the Shabbos day, and in the other place, in Deuteronomy, it says, Shomor es Yom HaShabbos, Lakadsho, to observe the Sabbath day, to sanctify it. Shomor, to observe it, means to avoid not violating the Shabbos. Sur meira, stay away from doing the wrong thing. But Zohar tells us that we need to have a Shabbos consciousness. We also need the Asei Tov. We need to actively be working at spiritual renewal, at resting ourselves, taking our minds off of our everyday concerns and focusing on those things that matter most. And so we have also this Sur Meira Va'asei Tov idea found when it comes to Shabbos. For us as well, right now, and in the time that we find ourselves, we're also in a time of Sur Meira Va'asei Tov. As we battle this coronavirus as individuals, as families, and as communities, and as a nation and a world, as we battle this coronavirus, we have to, on the one hand, Sur Meira, we have to avoid the behaviors that we've been told to avoid. But that's not enough, because people are in need and people are in crisis and isolated. We all are. We all feel that sense of isolation and crisis. And therefore we need asay tov as well. We need not only to avoid the behaviors that might contaminate other people or might risk ourselves, but we need to do asay tov. We need to be actively working to support other people who are struggling with COVID, whether they have the COVID disease, whether they're working, God bless them all the people who are working on the front lines as first responders and medical people who are working on the front lines of dealing with COVID. We have to do asay tov. We have to do good for them. They're doing the sur meirah. We need to do the asay tov. And we need to do that by not only avoiding certain behaviors, but supporting the people around us, supporting our family members, supporting the people who live in our household, supporting the people who in our society are making things better for us and helping us out. That's our job. That's our asay tov. That's our lachem. It's not enough. Usfartem lachem is the message is, it's not enough only to pay attention to the things which God has specifically told us not to do, but lachem, the things which we're permitted to do as well. In the areas where we have the opportunity to do things, we have to take advantage of those opportunities. So as we go into this cold, strange weather Shabbos, in this very, very strange time, as we approach Lag BaOmer next week, as we approach the holiday of Shavuos, and as we work our way through this crisis, sur meirah v'asay tov, let us both do the things we need to do to protect ourselves and the people around us. V'asay tov, let us also do the things we need to do to support the people around us, to help them, to be a shoulder to cry on, an ear to talk to be a helping hand, to do all of the things that we can do so that as we survive, if you will, this crisis, we are also thriving through this crisis. Usfartem lachem mimocharas haShabbos. Let's get out there and continue to count the days towards Shavuos, to receiving the Torah, and continue to find ways to not only avoid the things that we should be avoiding, but to do the things we should be doing, support the people that we should be supporting. And God willing, in the merit of this, our congregation, our families, ourselves, our communities, our world, all should see healing, and that we should all be back together celebrating each in our own way, and that we should be together in shul again soon, singing and davening and learning Torah and being with each other and supporting each other and doing all the things that make our congregation the great congregation that it truly is. Shabbat Shalom.